Afternoon and welcome once again to Gaming Under the Influence. I'm Mike here with Alex, coming to you guys from GreenDragonCVR in Woodbridge, Ontario to talk to you about video games. June 2022.
How the hell did we get here?
I don't know, man.
Shit.
Time is melting by.
Yeah, it's crazy. I feel like there's so much to talk about, but even though, like, there hasn't really seemingly been a lot going on, but...
Yeah. One thing I noticed, tangentially, a bunch of survival building games in it. You know?
Yeah, that's been...
There's not only the Nightingale one, there was like this other one called, shit.
Don't forget about Blizzard. Just
There's
glaze over
Nightingale.
that.
There was one
No,
with like Lovecraftian horror elements and shit like that we were talking about on the Discord there the other day. Once Human looks also fucking pretty sick.
Yeah?
Another survival building game, yep.
Did we see this one at Game Fest?
No. I just saw it the other day, just yesterday.
Yeah, eh?
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah, it looks really good. Pretty stoked on that.
That's like really your thing right now, eh?
Yeah. Big time. Big time. But I'm itching for a JRPG, I gotta say.
Yeah, I've been like sucked into the Final Fantasy realm hardcore lately,
Yeah.
and I've been I started playing 9 before, and I more recently picked up 1. In the last week or two, I've pretty much hammered it out, made it to the final boss. So I feel like I'm on some kind of Final Fantasy kick, craving like a.
Oh yeah, you've been saying that for 2 months now.
Right? Yeah. That's true.
Good for you though. I'm on board with that, buddy. Good for you.
Yeah, which also is pretty sick because.
We're watching. Yeah, we just play this for you now. The Xenoblade 3 trailer. I'm super excited for this. I was a big fan of 2. We raved about it.
Yep.
A lot for I put it down for a bit, but I finished it last year, I think.
Yeah.
Just spontaneously, and it was a great experience. The ending was fucking fantastic. We'll reiterate again for those of you who don't know. It ends with the main character, Rex, who the whole game has been in love with this woman who lives inside of his sword. She turns into 2 women, and now he's in love with them both after saving the world. And it's the end of the game.
They all save the world.
And it ends
together,
there with him standing there on a cliffside, staring at the sunshine, holding the hands of these 2 large-breasted women.
So funny, man.
I don't know, like, if they intended us to not just be like...
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm just calling out what's going on, right? That's what's happening.
But really, it was
so
great,
funny.
though. Like, it's funny, like... it's funny, like it's really hilarious,
It's
obviously,
funny
but it also like it makes sense. They're not actually 2 different people. That's why they're the same person, right? They're like 2 modes of the same person, kind of.
Yeah, even though it's more wacky and goofy, it's probably like slightly.
Yeah, it does make sense in the fucking story. It's just hilarious that this is absolutely not. What is he, a Mormon? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it looks funny. Yeah,
it's not the most politically correct thing to say the least, which is why it's probably so hilarious.
Yeah,
and it's a philosophically coherent game too. They're always based. All of the Xeno games are always about. Some concept, like some Gnosticism is this idea that the world was built by this like evil fucking thing to conceal the truth from intelligent beings, you know what I mean?
Right.
Just like this one, there's like the architect and some finite guy. He wasn't exactly evil, but he bunged up in building the world and
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, so it's really well thought out and it's fucking cool, and it's also got like heavy doses of that JRPG melodrama, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
Absolutely.
They have like these long cutscenes, bro, where they're like, we're friends though! I love you! We're saving the world! Ah!
Yeah, these games are like way more, like that than even some of the stuff like Final Fantasy that's creeped into like mainstream, right? Like this stuff is just hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
It's like...
But it's well put together though. It's like I'm giving the impression that it's fucking goofier, but it's well acted and written actually. It's just like I was saying.
Even the voice actors are
The
English ones are fantastic.
The English ones they're always done in this like
great.
Irish or English accent.
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing all of the time.
It fits
really
the
good.
fucking setting and everything, right? Everything looks good and sounds good together, right? It meshes.
And since they moved to the
Despite being
Switch, they
goofy.
have this cell shaded fucking look to it.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, man. Beautiful. It's gonna age beautifully too.
Yeah, 3 looks to continue that. It looks fantastic.
Oh yeah,
I can't wait to fucking
July 29th.
July 29th.
Buddy.
Yeah, tomorrow they actually have a Nintendo Direct, pretty much solely dedicated to that. Yeah, nice special edition there, eh?
Nintendo Direct. Yep.
Yeah, tomorrow there will be a Nintendo Direct for that, so I'm excited to see what.
We'll definitely take a look at that and come back to you guys with that. But yeah, what we had intended to discuss today was primarily, first of all, your foray into the Final Fantasy games. Hey, Alex, you're almost done number 1.
I think a little bit about Final Fantasy, some V Rising, but
we got a little bit of a vantage on how the series has evolved, having played the most recent and the oldest entries.
Yes, pretty much
back to back, eh?
Yeah, actually, I think the last one I finished was 15, and now I just played through 1. I'm stuck on the last boss, but it doesn't matter. It's like the bare bones experience of Final Fantasy. It feels so like stripped down to the core that it's hilarious, and I love it. Right? It's you basically pick 4 like nameless characters. You have to name them. You pick their classes, and their classes correspond later on in the game with their job. You don't get any freedom or flexibility with your job system. You don't get to pick different jobs for characters or whatever, right? So you name your characters. You get either a warrior or red mage, white mage, black mage, all the standard like Final Fantasy trope characters, right? And you set off. You go, right? And nobody tells you where to go. It's just the world is there. You sort of have to explore and find your way. And as you defeat bosses, you sort of unlock segments of the map. It's like open worldish, right? Like they build a bridge for you after you beat Garland in the beginning, and then you carry on and you get a boat. You can travel through the sea to different places. And then you get a canoe, and you can travel through different rivers that you couldn't previously access. And then you get an airship. You can fly around all over the fucking map. It's fucking neat to see all that, right? It's really cool, but very basic, very bare bones. I loved every second of it, though.
I'm trying to think, was this the first JRPG technically?
Probably not. It depends when like the original Dragon Quest came out, because they might have come out around the same time. Like even if it was close, I don't think they borrowed too much off each other. Like they were both independently being made by different studios roughly at the same time. Like I don't, whatever. But
thinking who pioneered the formula, you know what I mean?
Yeah, essentially. We should look it up, but yeah, it definitely is one of the first, though there are earlier examples that probably kicked off. Like I've heard Suikoden came out before Final Fantasy. I've never played any Suikoden games, but
same.
There's deeper roots than Final Fantasy, but Final Fantasy being the massive franchise it is now, it's crazy to play like the original.
Yeah.
Like this game is older than I am. It came out in 87.
Same, even me.
Yeah, like
I'm trying to think, like
fucking nuts.
Wonder what did they come before like Baldur's Gate, the CRPGs? Were they influenced by that? Were they trying to build something similar? It would be
I want to
interesting
say
find
yes, but I'm not 100% sure.
I'm not sure either. But
yeah, no, I think so for sure, because I think those games came out in the 90s.
Did they?
I'm pretty sure. 1998.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it's way before that, a whole 10 years.
So these guys really pioneered the digital RPG, you could say. These systems are probably really the bedrock of all like fucking digital representations of this kind of shit,
oh,
right? Like,
definitely. Oh, even Suikoden. What am I talking about? 1995. Final Fantasy definitely predates
Dragon
that.
Quest 1.
Dungeons and Dragons K, 1974.
What is the first video game RPG?
Oh, is it there? Dragon Stomper on Atari 2600 in 1982. Okay, so there's definitely earlier.
These are like
examples,
dungeon crawling RPGs.
Yes,
though.
yes.
You know what I mean?
True, yeah, true.
Like probably like why this is interesting, I think, to all the stuff we fucking talk about here is like, we play a lot of Final Fantasy games. We talk about even in relation to fucking like 10, how 7 remake differed, and what elements it adopted, and 13 and what have you, right? So, I'd be interested to know, because I haven't played it, like to what extent, on the one hand, the fucking systems that we experience in these games, like, primarily I'm thinking of like level-based fucking progression, using stats to represent different aspects of the characters, their abilities, like this turn-based RPG as we broadly conceive of it, right? Like, was this mostly there mechanically?
Yeah, like, I mean, the cool thing about that is that it seems the first one and the second one differ greatly in that respect. So it's almost as if, they didn't really settle on what would be the, go-to. Like I said, 2 has more of like a Skyrim-based system. I'm using that because it's the most modern game I know that like is like that. Basically, the weapons you use and the equipment you use sort of level up individually on their own, right? As you use them, and the different skills, and even I think if you win battles with super low HP, then you get more HP points. But essentially, your character doesn't have like a level stat, right? Like in every other fucking RPG or JRPG or whatever that we've played, right? So for me, it's cool to go back and see 1 in the super like original stripped down state, and now I want to jump into 2 and see what they fucked with before eventually abandoning that and going back into 3 with levels, and then eventually the job. Like I want to see the evolution of what got us to basically 7 was the first one I played ever in my life, right?
Yeah.
And 6 is hailed as like one of the best ones. So 6 is probably like the most competent 2D version of it in like the sickest form, right? And I want to play them, right? So that kind of kicked me off, and I started 1. Now I'm at the end of 1, but I got to do a little bit of grinding before I can take down fuckboy Chaos over there.
Fuckboy Chaos.
Yeah, he's being a douche, but that's the game's fault because it doesn't seem fucking like I breezed by the whole game.
Sure.
And it was pretty fun. Like there were some things that you can tell are super antiquated, like just the random encounters seemed very consistent, like almost to the point where you just knew when it was going to happen. Like there wasn't any, kind of dynamic thing with that. That was one of the, you could just tell it's a fucking old game. I mean, the turn-based combat's pretty fucking basic and shit. But whatever, I loved it anyway. It's sick.
But still, though, that's most of the game is there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
At least mechanically. And I bet you if you were to look, most of the fucking conceptual broader strokes would be there too. Like this fucking set of like diverse characters that come together to counter some fucking cosmic threat.
Oh yeah, when you talk to like a lot of NPCs in the game, because that's really the only text you get. Your characters don't have any dialogue in the game. They're just fucking no one, right? But everybody tells you about the 4 warriors of light that come to fill this sort of prophecy and destroy the fucking evil, whatever. And a lot of people say it to you, and you kind of like, that's obviously who you are, right? You sort of get a sense of that. It's pretty sick, and it almost reminds me of like Dark Souls games and stuff where they don't fucking really present you anything. It's very fucking basic. I mean, it's not done intentionally. It's more probably because at the time fucking there were restraints with the hardware, right?
Yeah.
But you sort of have to do your own research, run around, talk to everybody, explore the map and get into random encounters every fucking 7 seconds. It's frustrating, but it's a pared down, like, super early example of, the RPGs and JRPGs that we've come to fucking love and enjoy over the years. It's fun.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
I think it'll be cool to hear your thoughts as you go through the series, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to try and jump into 2 right away and see how far I can get. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see what kind of ideas they kind of impose on this persistent, material basis that they started with the first game, right?
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I think the goal is to do all 6 of the remastered pixel ones, I guess.
What is the first game about? What's the story about?
Really, it's about just the fucking evil, like chaos takes over and releases fucking the 4 fiends that I guess they take the power of the crystal or whatever they fucking to aid in their evil ways.
The crystal keeps the world alive or something.
Yeah, so the world's pretty much in turmoil and you go around basically defeating the 4 fiends that have taken over the crystals. You restore the crystal's power because you are the 4 warriors of light that sort of appeared with a crystal, and as you restore those crystals, the world is supposed to get back to normal. But then at the end you have to travel back 2,000 years in time and defeat Chaos, who becomes Garland in the future, who's the first boss that you beat. And once you beat Chaos 2,000 years in the past, I think you go back and everything's good.
It's sick, buddy.
Some shit like that. Yeah, it's super very vague, obviously, right? Your characters don't have dialogue. It's just very straightforward and whatever. If you talk to people, that's what is going on. But sick nonetheless.
It's fucking badass.
Yeah.
I'd like to play it myself sometime, perhaps, but I've got such a deep fucking donkey.
It's not even that long. 15 hours, maybe?
Yeah, that's the other thing. Wow.
It's not that bad.
That's something that's changed with time, eh?
Oh, yeah. That has not remained consistent. No.
Ridiculous.
Nope.
Ridiculous. But at least mechanically, the JRPG was built there.
I mean, they've been expanded on. Like, you can tell, a lot of the bosses, they don't, as you go through the game, they don't gain, an incredible amount of health, and then you just gain like incredible stats that like pair up well with the fucking enemies as you go. It's almost like I don't know, it's more tight. Like the fucking you level up and your stats incrementally go up very slowly, and enemies have like a little bit more health as you go, but like the fights are pretty like, they can be tense because of that, but I've sort of over leveled as I played the game. Like I did a lot of random encounters naturally as you go because there's a ton of them and I don't run from any of them. I just fight them all as much as I can. So I've been like able to breeze through the game, right? And it's felt like pretty good, but I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's just, it doesn't get as like expanded as the modern ones where like you have fucking like thousands of fucking health and fucking, you know, tens of thousands of fucking health or whatever.
Yeah.
Crazy shit.
Not as out there, I understand.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Very, very basic.
Well, perhaps we could talk for a couple more minutes before we
let's get
go
into
about
some
this fucking
V Rising.
Yeah, I've pretty much done this now. Started about a month ago, right? Now it's the 20th, 21st.
Yep.
I think that's when I really started playing this game in earnest, actually, because there was the thing came out, and then a couple of days later we had that power outage, disrupted everything for a bit.
Oh shit, yeah.
Remember that? And but yeah, I've played 100 and something, 130 hours of it now. We're almost done the bosses on our server, and we've unlocked all the recipes.
Nice.
And I think I have a pretty good sense of what they got here, while it's still in early access. And to me, it goes without saying that. You know, it's a full fucking game, bro. I saw people in the Discord complaining about there being a lack of endgame content. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Endgame content. Shut the fuck up. Use your mind for something.
Isn't that
bro.
so mind-bending?
It's like a box
though?
of Lego. What are you talking about? Build whatever the hell you want. What do you want? You know? It's
so
in early access.
Funny
too.
because is that the standard now? Early access has to have fucking endgame. Like, it doesn't make sense.
More than 100 hours of content?
Yeah.
And it's $20 fucking dollars, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with people.
That's
I guess
much.
they're simple. They can't derive any pleasure from the act of creating something in the universe, right?
Yeah.
So they want more mechanical content. But, you know, I'm sure that's going to come too. There's a whole zone on the map. You'll see anytime you pull it up, it's still grayed out.
Well, if it's early access, then yeah, absolutely. There definitely will be updates. But
yes,
that's the thing, right? You're buying an early access game. It's not finished. And
no. But I mean,
the idea of finished is very apparently.
There's more to it than almost any AAA game I played
people.
in years. I played a lot of them. You know what I mean? I played it more than any of them. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Before these games, I never played a game for more than 100 hours.
This is all you've been playing lately.
Yeah. That's it. It's a real fucking doozy, this game. So much cool stuff in it. And, you know, I guess firstly, like, watching it, you think it's like a Diablo game, an ARPG.
It looks
I'd
like
say,
one.
yeah, it does look like it.
Which is sick. That's what I like about it, but it's way better.
That's right. It's an ARPG game combat-wise, I guess you could say, but that just describes the way you fight and maybe the isometric camera, right?
Yeah, that's tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, I think it's a survival game, first and foremost, because the primary loop is like, you know, your integration with the categories of the world, like we talked about and all this shit, right? You build a base, you fucking go from being like a fucking preyed upon to being the thing that like determines everything around you, you know? Mm-hmm. Integrating yourself with the world, building your base. That's what this game is about. Yeah. And even in the fiction, you know, there's just like, you know, the world was run by vampires, but then they were overthrown by these people with their holy and garlic powers and shit like that, right? And now you're going to fight them and destroy their leaders who had appropriated Dracula's blood to power their operations, right? And it's really cool, man. Even the fiction, like you read the little blurbs and the boss descriptions, it's really well written. The world is beautifully built, lots of details everywhere you look, cool little things to find.
Yeah. Looks
and as you get into the city here at the end of the game, it's even crazier, right? It's a legit city, you know? Different sectors. Well built, very cool. So I think it's a fantastic game, man. Firstly, you know, given that it's a survival game, the survival aspects are sick. Like it's great to, you know, identify your needs and then look for ways to satisfy them and, you know, at the end automate those
automate
needs, right?
it at
like,
the end of the day so you don't have to do it.
That's right. What I like is that,
amazing.
you know, you, like everything else, you got to fucking meet material needs with the appropriate ingredients and stuff like that, like any other survival game that is.
Yeah.
And here what you have is this whole system where you can get these like their minions, their your servants or whatever. You can find people in the world and turn them into vampires and build a casket for them in your crypt there.
Nice.
And equip them with the same gear that you're wearing, the same weapons, and then, you know, they walk around your castle and defend it most of the time. And later on, you look at the map when you're sitting on your throne and you send them on missions to harvest resources, right?
Nice.
And if they're appropriately geared, they can harvest everything that you harvest, you know? And the missions can range from like 14 to 24 hours, I think, depending on you can take, there's a slider that adjusts the risks and rewards.
Oh, okay.
You know? So for the longest time, for 24 hours, there's low risk, high reward, right? And then for the shortest time, there's low reward and high risk. So
right. So it makes sense just to
For me, I was just sitting for
day
24 hours. Yeah, come back the next day.
Get all the shit you can.
Yeah, and if you,
Awesome.
it creates this nice loop where, you know, you got a building project going on. It's feasible to just actually like every day, just log in and send your boys off. Wait till the next day comes, you know?
Isn't that like the least egregiously like shitty way to get somebody to log in your game every day? Like,
yeah, like
all the fucking greasy shit
for
games
sure, yeah.
that, you know, try and keep you like addicted and
It's
coming
a great
back.
way to
like,
retain people,
yeah,
definitely.
it's fantastic, but it's built into the game and you want to do it, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's part of it, right? Like
Yeah.
you know, you're taking care of this fucking persistent world. Like that's part of the concept. That's why it's so enjoyable, right? Everything from the horses to your castle heart to everything else requires your attention, you know? And I guess this is the kind of game that when we don't want to play anymore, we're going to shut the server down because everything's going to go sour if we don't, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be constantly fucking tending to stuff, you know, making sure it's not falling apart. And
That's crazy.
it's part of it. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. It's the kind of thing that they could have monetized to all hell if they
all
wanted
fucking
to.
shit. And it's so fucking it's so fitting nowadays because Diablo Immortal just came out.
This game's $20.
Which is like
I spent my drink more worth in beer today. You know what I mean? Like already since we got here, like
yeah. Fair enough. And it's so vastly fucking expanded. Like, you could say they look similar, and if anything, that's just a huge compliment to V Rising, considering it wasn't made by fucking Blizzard, Activision Corporate, and Microsoft Corporation.
Yeah, man. This
Like,
game fucking rocks it, bro. I'm telling you, like, just, you know,
Way
this is not
better.
going to be technical commentary, obviously, but it's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah.
I love playing it. I think about it all day. I go to bed like, I dream about what I'm going to build tomorrow in my castle. I'm going to build my fucking couches once my boys get back with my leather. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And they do come, and I build the couch, and I'm like, fucking it. You can't even sit on the couch.
Really?
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's not even like Valheim, where you can actually sit your dude on. You can't even do that, but still.
It's there.
Just
It's
looking
all
at the
done
couch,
up.
I'm like, fuck. And the other crazy thing is, like, Valheim is more like granular, like the building, you know, you can just design the ground and shit like that, but this is like a Lego set. You got to figure out how to make something look sick with like little squares and circles, essentially. That's what you're working with here. You know, it's not like free roam like that. You can't just go in any direction. It's like little grids and circles. That's what you got to work with, right?
Right.
So like unlocking more of that by picking up these papers out in the world is fucking crazy. Like, when you don't know what to do and you don't want to fight bosses, it's productive to just go out and fucking walk around in the highest zone area you can go to. You get parts to progress your base and yourself, right?
Man, it's
Just
crazy.
by doing that.
Fucking, are you in like a fucking city or something?
Yeah,
I didn't
there's
even
a city,
see
yeah.
this.
It's like the
fucking
last
amazing.
zone in the game so far. You know, there's another zone coming. You can
Everything
see it
I
there.
played was like procedurally generated and shit, right?
Yeah, I think it's all made. Like, it's all made. It's
Yeah.
just that the other areas are barren, right? It's a forest and a
Right.
fucking... But you start in this, like, crypt in this forest, and it's pretty... There's nothing there. There's just bandits and bears and shit. But then you go into, like, this populated area called Dunley Hills, you know? Like, full of fucking... a militia that guards everything. There's cotton farms where the dudes like put garlic on stakes around that when you walk in there it gives you a debuff and you
Oh my
accrue
God,
on every
that's
little
hilarious.
while. You can get up to 100
Yeah.
stacks and they all reduce your damage and they increase the damage you take by 1% or something like that. So it becomes like really a race. You got to either make the potions to not take the buffs, the debuffs, or you have to you have to fucking avoid it altogether, right? And then you go into this area, there's holy debuffs and all this different shit that you have to react to by harvesting the appropriate materials and preparing in advance.
Pretty sick.
It's an incredibly well thought out game. I thought at first all the bosses were just like
Kind of
just basic mobs, but like there's cool bosses, man. They're
the
cool.
couple that I did
Some of them are
actually
sick.
were pretty interesting. Like they were memorable. I remember what they looked like instead of just like
they weren't
I
just
don't know.
basic reskin mobs.
Yeah.
Like
the
some of
mining
them,
one was
you know,
cool. That big dude with the fucking
for sure. Later in the game, you fight big ogres and bears, and there's like bat monsters. Like there's crazy, and it's an early access, bro. You see literally on the map a whole continent that they haven't even finished yet.
Oh,
Never
man.
mind like stuff that they haven't implemented at all.
Yeah,
right?
that's
like,
crazy. I mean, I generally avoid early access games
Yeah.
that like just entirely. I don't even consider playing them. But this one seems like a fucking home run. Like they have something going. It's sick.
Games
it's
like
well
this
made. It's
seem to come out that way, eh?
yeah.
Isn't it weird? All starting with Minecraft, all these games have come out in early access. I don't think you can find one that fucking didn't, actually. Every
Maybe,
single
yeah.
survivor,
I know
you
Valheim for sure.
Valheim, Minecraft,
anyway.
The Forest, everything, bro. Everything came out in early access. Early
Weird
access.
that it works out that way, but
Yeah.
I guess because it was a niche genre that, you know, now Blizzard's making one. Ooh, a fucking big game studio picked up
Bro,
on it now.
why would anybody, can I ask you, like, why would anybody play
Which
that?
brings us to fucking Diablo Immortal, which is like,
Oh, yeah.
all I
that
fucking ever hear about is that it's just like the biggest cash
It's
grab
jank.
in the entire universe.
It is jank,
And you know
yeah.
what actually pissed me off too that I heard today?
What?
You know the Tony Hawk 1-2 remake? Apparently they were getting started on a Tony Hawk 3-4 remake through the next set of games, right? And once the merger happened, they just shut it down.
What?
Yeah, they were like, fuck it. I guess when Microsoft picked up Activision Vicarious and the
What do you
studio,
think
whatever.
Activision under Microsoft would have done to Sekiro? Eh?
Oh, fuck. I don't even want to know.
They would have fucking destroyed that shit. No?
I don't think it even would have happened. Look at the fucking one platinum game they couldn't even fucking.
Bro, you have so much money.
squeeze out
Just
the door.
fucking-
Yeah, like,
What's wrong with you?
like
You know?
whatever it was, it would have fucking made money. Just, you know.
And even if it didn't, who gives a shit to you guys, right?
Yeah,
You think
true.
you want? I don't know, man. Platinum's sick too. Like
That's what I mean. Like I'd have full faith in them. Like how can you not?
even if it was a shit game, it would be good on your resume to have a fucking, a game
A
from that
platinum game.
studio,
Yeah,
right?
why
Like,
not? Hey.
The Microsoft thing, it's almost it is a meme, of course, but it's a real fucking description of their brand, right? Like for whatever the brand is worth.
Yeah.
And their ecosystem doesn't have any fucking interesting software, right?
Oh no, Diablo Immortal is apparently greasy as shit. Like when you're getting headlines on N4G and whatever site it came from, that
this
a
mobile
player
one,
beat the fucking game without microtransactions, like that's awful.
Yeah,
man.
that's pretty funny.
Oh.
Yeah, that is
Is this even
newsworthy,
a
that is.
game? What are you, a store? Like what the
It is
fuck
a story, yeah.
this?
It's a mobile
Like
game,
come
of course.
on.
Mobile games have to be that way.
The
This is why we talked
fuck?
about this before, though, in relation to streaming. Remember we said, like, the medium, it's not the message, quote unquote. It's not the fucking thing being represented,
Yeah.
but the medium is going to determine what kinds of things you can represent, so to speak, right? Like, it's going to determine what kinds of things fucking are appropriate for people to consume via that. There's certain things that are just not certain matter is not receptive to certain kinds of ideas. And I think a phone game is, mobile gaming is the kind of matter that's not receptive to any valuable fucking idea that this
No.
medium can express.
It's
or
not
at least
meant
if it
for.
is.
It's not.
If it is, it's going to be a visual fucking novel. It's going to be like a
Yeah.
point and click game. It's going to be something old that
Puzzle
translates to
game,
that shit,
yeah,
like Final
yeah.
Fantasy IX, right? Like, it's going to be something where it wasn't fucking designed for mobile primarily, because what that entails is, fucking convenient consumption and throwaway fucking attention
Yeah.
bullshit, right? Like,
And purchases.
what that involves, is diversionary bullshit. That's what I
Yeah,
mean to say,
exactly.
Like fucking stuff to flip through while you're taking a dump, right? Like, that's the...
Like, are we really to believe that Diablo 4 is going to be any better than Immortal just because Immortal is a fucking mobile game? I don't think so.
I'm
It'll
not
be
gonna-
the
I don't
same
believe
shit.
that, no, because
It'll
I
be
played
the
Diablo
same
3.
good- yeah.
Right? Remember that?
Fuck, yeah.
That was fucking 10 years ago now. It actually was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And they fucking sucked ass back then. Now
Fuck.
these idiots bought them.
Ugh,
They
it's gonna
suck
be
even worse ass.
Oof.
But on that, perhaps we should shut her down.
Yep.
Thank you very much for tuning in, friends. It's been a fucking pleasure. Take care of yourselves, and we'll talk soon.
Fuck yeah.